While I've already discussed the most prevalent conspiracy theory of Pokemon Sun and Moon, there is another that was seemingly under our noses the entire time but somehow still turned out to be true. Get in the bag because this is the Cosmog Conspiracy Theory. Obviously, everything started off on May 10th of 2016, when we got the first official trailer for Pokemon Sun and Moon. Here we got a look at the brand new starter Pokemon and a great taste of the Alola region before ending off on footage of the legendary Pokemon. Well, we didn't get their names. Actually, we didn't get any information on them besides a few seconds of gameplay as well as the box art. Of course, keeping some mystery around the legendary Pokemon is a pretty standard thing for the first trailer of any game, but this time around felt a bit different, especially when we consider how detailed later trailers of this era would end up being. Everybody sure had a lot of theories to toss around during this time, but the questions on everybody's minds were, what the heck are these things? What are their names? What are their typings? How do they play into the story? All healthy discussion. Well, in terms of the names, those might have actually already been known at this point, because winding the clock back to April 20th of that year, trademarks were filed by Pokemon for the names Solgaleo and Lunala. Again, this was before they were revealed, so even then, fans had the idea of what they would look like. And now finally having some designs to pin to the names, it started to make sense. But there were still other questions. We would get the rest of them answered about a month later on June 2nd with another trailer. This one basically all about Solgaleo and Lunala. Their type combinations were officially revealed with both of them sharing the Psychic type. Pretty normal to have them as counterparts, but that Psychic typing would become very important. Though some people were still wondering why they weren't Fire and Dark as their secondary typings. This trailer did also reveal the character of Lily, who we know would become important, though interesting that their stories would be connected as the fan speculation would take them in different directions. The first big hint that there was even more to Solgaleo and Lunala would come from the Pokemon World Championships of that year. A great weekend of exciting battles that always ends off on trailers to tease the next year of competitive Pokemon. So on August 19th, a trailer was shown to attendees and livestream viewers that introduced Pokemon GX, the next big shakeup for the trading card game. Obviously, the legendary Pokemon were at the forefront of this announcement, but there was a lot of information left omitted from their cards. Obviously, the aesthetic choice to use Ferrofluid in the trailer allowed them to cover up some things, but weird that they didn't use more of it and instead just left parts of the card blank. No energy cost, no rule box, no weakness, resistance, or retreat cost, no HP, and most interestingly, no designator that these were basic Pokemon. Sure, it could be chalked up to the fact that a lot of symbols were not included, but this would be an interesting piece of the puzzle moving forward. The next significant event in this story was, you guessed it, the release of the Pokemon Sun and Moon demo, which, as I've covered, contained images of every Pokemon in the Pokédex but didn't have names, typings, or any connections. So many interesting things to see, including the starter evolutions, but you might have missed the two little guys that came right before Solgaleo and Lunala. This is all we knew about them, that they were next to each other in the Pokédex. But here is where we started to see the main theory and people split up. These two Pokemon could be unrelated to the legendary Pokemon, or they were the pre-evolutions. Even with the small images, the similarities in designs were pretty clear. Though it is funny looking back and realizing that some people pegged them as a 3-stage evolution line with a split, but also there was a prevailing theory that one evolved into Lunala and the other evolved into Solgaleo. The point is, the theory of legendary Pokemon evolving was brought to the forefront of the fandom, something we had never seen before in the franchise, but definitely possible. I don't even want to play any of my videos because for some reason I didn't buy it, even though the evidence was plain as day right in front of my face, though it definitely was a conspiracy at the time. Later on October 27th, less than a month before release day, Pokemon uploaded a hefty trailer showing off even more brand new creatures. Even though they had all been leaked at this point, it was still fun to see how it all came together with the names and typings. But with all the big and cool Pokemon taking out the trailer's runtime, they were able to sneak in an official reveal of Cosmog, a Psychic type. Hilarious that they didn't show off any footage that would make it appear to be important. That is in the English trailer, because over on the Japanese Pokemon YouTube channel, their trailers had a lot more footage. So through translators we found out that Cosmog was actually hiding inside of Lily's bag, and we even got to see some of the iconic cutscenes that would be in the video game. Now it was all starting to make sense. The secret that Lily was hiding was Cosmog, and it would be an important Pokemon for the story. There was also information added to the official website, one of the interesting details being that Cosmog was named by a professor at the Aether Foundation, so it was obviously intriguing. And now came the final piece on November 7th when images of upcoming Pokemon TCG products featured Solgaleo and Lunala but also happened to leak the pre-evolution. Sure, you had to zoom into a low quality image, but the proof was pretty undeniable. That was the weird Pokemon we had seen in the leak, and it was listed as the pre-evolution for both Solgaleo and Lunala. This leak was the final straw that got me to believe.
In the leaked Pokedex order, there is Cosmog, some other Pokemon, which I just came up with the perfect name for it, Galaxy Walnut, and then comes Solgaleo and Lunala. And then I talked about the current theory that's going on saying that Cosmog and then Galaxy Walnut are pre-evolutions of Solgaleo and Lunala. Now, in the comments of the last video, some people were saying that Cosmog was an evolution to Lunala and Galaxy Walnut was an evolution to Solgaleo. However, that's just not true. While some people were theorizing that the actual Pokedex order was as follows, and it's what I listed in the last video.
As we all know, the release of these games showed us the legendary Pokemon line in all its glory, and I personally was a big fan of how everything was handled. Sun and Moon overall did a lot of different things to make the formula feel new again, while being a celebration of all Pokemon was up until then. Taking the time to look back on Pokemon Sun and Moon has been really fun, especially because of all the leaks and speculation of the time, but comparing the Cosmog Conspiracy to the Ultra Beast human theory, I like the story of this one much better. It wasn't as outlandish, but still kind of unbelievable with a mix of different types of information. It really is cool to see how it all comes together while not completely spoiling too much. I mean, sure, one of the big surprises was out in the open if you were looking for it, but taking place over the course of a few months made it a slow burn that still left a lot to experience in the final game. So let me know what you thought about the whole Cosmog evolution, and if you have any other memories you'd like to share. Again, Sun and Moon were very important to me as a creator, and while I had fun back then, I am so happy I've grown in those years. I don't know how much more I'll cover about history like this when we've got a good amount done already, but there might be one more thing to talk about as we head right into a classic annual tradition on the channel. Anyway, I should get back to theorizing because this is gonna be a really fun summer for Pokemon. Thank you to every channel member for your support, including the Great Gators, Shash, Cosmo Zero, Alex with Shiny Hunts, Tyler Hopper, Lockadox, KoiKoi13, Cemetery Hill, Cheez-It62, GatorKid509, TF, Mathaclog947, Taijirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, sometimes early videos, and our monthly members podcast, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
Powers of Sun and Moon unite. Witness the awesome power of Pokemon GX in Pokemon trading card game Sun and Moon. In stores now. Each booster pack of 10 cards sold separately. Cards vary by pack.